We all know it. Walked it every day. But none of them were like these. The world's most dangerous ways to school. Freezing. Climbing for hours. Bailing non-stop. All for the chance of a better life. Spectacular and sometimes simply beautiful. The world's most dangerous ways to school. The jungle in eastern Nicaragua and its lifeline, the mighty Rio Escondido. It is a wild and secluded region with no roads or trains connecting it to the rest of the country. Far away from the cities, the jungle is filled with a multitude of animal species. It is also one of the world's wettest places, with 10 months of rainy season each year. Whoever wants to go to school here must travel a long way, a daily adventure. It is one of the most dangerous ways to school in the world, but the children have only one goal: to learn for a better life. Nothing can stop these students. To realize their dream, they are willing to take on all sorts of dangers. Five o'clock in the morning, shortly after sunrise in San Nicolas. On one of the banks of the Rio Escondido lies a small settlement in a jungle clearing. Here life is simple. There is neither running water nor electricity. Only two families live in San Nicolas. One of them is the González Flores family. With the first rays of sunlight, life begins in the small wooden shack. Beneath the mosquito net, something stirs.
Come on, it's time to get up.
A long, exhausting, and dangerous day lies ahead for the children. But the anticipation of school sends the three Flores sisters leaping happily out of their bed.
I'm so hungry.
But the girls cannot think of breakfast yet. The family is poor, as is 70% of Nicaragua's rural population. First, a quick sponge bath. As every morning, a lot of work awaits the children. Before they can eat anything themselves, they must feed the family's most valuable assets, the animals. And as generations before, their mother, Doña Julia, really needs her daughter's help. Julia Jr. is 7 years old. The baby, Yulissa, called Yuli, is 5. Kenya, the big sister, is 9 years old. Before all three can go on their dangerous journey to school over the Rio Escondido, they must first do an hour and a half of household chores. Despite the work, they do not forget how to be children.
You have to take more water. Wow, that's so cold.
Their mother prepares breakfast. The children will need it. As usual, there is pozol, a mixture of water, corn, and sugar, and a piece of bread. Not much, considering the hardships that lie ahead.
It's very important that the girls learn to read so that they can have a better future. When they grow up, I want them to become doctors or teachers. They should be able to become anything they want to.
The three sisters are not the only children in the jungle who must do so much every day in the hopes of a better life. Their classmate, Greyven Lopez, lives 1 kilometer further inland. His family is not quite as poor. Since the 11-year-old Greyven doesn't have to work before school, he's only just gotten up. His mother, Doña Jamie, has already prepared his breakfast. Since the family lives too far from the river, his way to school takes him through the countryside. The greatest threat facing Greyven on his journey slithers along the ground and in the trees.
I'm very afraid of the snakes on the way to school, but I know that I need to learn to read so that I can make something out of myself.
3 kilometers of jungle lie before him. Not a very long way, but his constant fear of snakes and other dangerous animals is with the boy at every turn.
Goodbye, Mom.
Bye. Take care.
Regardless of the risks, being allowed to go to school is a privilege in this part of Nicaragua. Very few children get the chance. Greyven's classmates are almost ready to go. While their mother is still doing Yulissa's hair, the 2 older sisters crack open coconuts, food for the pigs. They use every free minute to work. At about 6:30, they get going. The girls don't know the time because the family has no clock.
Farewell.
Bye-bye.
An hour remains until the lessons officially begin for Yulissa, Julia, and Kenya. Time enough, as long as there are no delays. They must row almost 2 miles along the river to reach the school. But their craft's best days are long past. The old dugout canoe is falling apart, and water seeps through dozens of holes. In order to keep their canoe seaworthy, the girls must bail the water out of the dugout before every trip. This takes at least 15 minutes. It is almost always Kenya who performs this task. She is used to taking responsibility for her younger sisters. Meanwhile, their classmate Greyven has completed the first part of his hike. In the cleared forest glades, he's making good progress. His next phase, the dense jungle, is already in sight. Suddenly, as so often before on his way to school, an unexpected obstacle. A herd of buffalo blocks the entrance to the jungle. Although the animals are not aggressive, if one gets too close, they may feel threatened and attack.
If I bother them, they might run me over.
Greyven decides not to take the risk and goes around the herd. Only very rarely does he meet other people on his way. The east of the country is sparsely populated. Just 1/10 of the 5.7 million Nicaraguans live here on half of the country's landmass. After a quarter of an hour's detour, Greyven reaches the edge of the jungle. From now on, he has to really concentrate. One false step can have serious consequences. Giant tropical ants, poison dart frogs, curly-haired tarantulas. The jungle is home to countless poisonous animals.
I've always been a bit afraid when going into the jungle.
And rightly so. The jungle's poisonous inhabitants are masters of camouflage. By the time one discovers them, it's often too late. Greyven hurries to get through this part of the forest as swiftly as possible. On the riverbank, the sisters' dugout is finally ready to go.
Man, this is hard. Kenya, move it! Hop in!
It's okay. I have to get the paddle first.
The 5-meter-long dugout weighs 200 kilograms, far more than all three girls together. To get it in motion is a tour de force. Only 3/4 of an hour before classes begin. High time to get going. The first part of their river voyage takes them through a dense mangrove swamp, a seemingly endless maze of roots and branches. There is no nearby shore to swim to should their canoe capsize, and 5-year-old Yulissa cannot swim. Although they have just set off, water is already swamping the boat. At a widening of the channel, the sisters must turn the cumbersome dugout. Kenya, the oldest, now sits in the back. From there, she can steer the canoe while keeping an eye on her 2 younger sisters. The 3 girls are careful not to touch any drooping plants. For them, too, venomous animals are a constant danger. Snakes or spiders could always fall from the branches and into their boat. But 7-year-old Julia is more concerned about the flow of brown river water into the canoe.
I'm often afraid that we might drown.
Little Yulissa also has to help. Her job, if too much water enters the canoe, is to bail it out along the way. Only as a trio is the trip in the rickety dugout even possible for the sisters. If one of the girls is sick, all 3 must stay at home, and school is canceled for that day.
It's not getting any less.
After about 20 minutes in the shadows, they reach the end of the mangroves. The children steer their canoe into the main branch of the Rio Escondido. The girls have completed almost half of their way to school. But now, they have the river's current to contend with. Seven o'clock. 30 minutes until the first lesson. Greyven has almost made it out of the thicket. Slowly, the forest thins. The 11-year-old is in 4th grade. He has come a long way. Children in the rural areas of Nicaragua go to school for a maximum of 4 years, if they ever go to school at all. Greyven has completed 2/3 of his dangerous journey to school.
Finally out of there, and I haven't seen any snakes yet.
But Greyven can only take a short breather. Before him lies that part of his daily route he fears most, the snake field. He has encountered dangerous reptiles here on many occasions.
The snakes live under the coconut.
This is where just days ago, a boa constrictor, almost 3 meters long, crossed his path.
It was right here when I saw it, and it was that thick.
But there is no avoiding it. In less than half an hour, classes start. If Greyven wants to get to school at all, he must cross the snake field. A few kilometers away, Greyven's mother is cooking with her relatives. Coconut oil, the livelihood of the family. 25-year-old Jamie Lopez is, as always, worried about her firstborn on his way to school.
I don't really want him to go to school because we do not have a boat. I'm afraid that a snake will bite him while he is out there all alone. He's still so small, and the route overland is much longer than by water.
Although crossing the river is the shortest way to school, it is not by any means less dangerous. But the river is kind to the girls today. The 3 Flores sisters are making good progress with the current. Only 1 mile left. After 3/4 of an hour on the water, the main branch of the Rio Escondido is almost behind them. And luckily, the girls have not yet encountered any of the dangerous river dwellers.
What scares me the most are the alligators that live here. They want to eat me.
But now that their way to school is almost behind them, anticipation slowly gains the upper hand. Each sister is excited for a different reason.
I like to go to school because I can see my friends there.
Our teacher, Mrs. Miller, is very nice and pays attention to me. I'm looking forward to school because it's fun to learn.
The children's destination sits on a hill above the river in the village of San Mariano. Around 100 people live here. Almost all of them belong to one large family. School supplies for 1 year cost approximately $41, too much for most families. Only about a dozen children attend the school. All the students, except for Kenya, Julia, Yulissa, and Greyven, live in the village. Their teacher, Mrs. Miller, knows the difficulties of the 4 jungle students well.
One day they come to class, and the next day they do not. But I know that they always try, so I'm satisfied. At least they learn something. The fact that the girls arrive with wet books, notebooks, and clothes here is normal. The boy, however, goes through the countryside where there are many snakes, some poisonous.
The coral snake is one of the most poisonous snakes of all, a red and black striped snake, which is very common in East Nicaragua. Greyven hopes to get to school today without meeting one of them. It's very common for the reptiles to come out after the rain. The coconuts in which the snakes live fill up with water.
Then they come out and crawl around everywhere. On the path, in the coconut clusters. They hang from the tree trunks as well. They wind themselves up to the top and stay wrapped around the trunk.
So Greyven always looks at the sky anxiously. He doesn't want to stay longer than necessary. The weather appears to have worsened. The same applies to his classmates on the water. It's almost 7:30. Gradually, their early start, the morning chores, and the strenuous paddling are taking their toll. The girls are tired, but their goal is in sight. Now, they only have one small lake to cross. But in the middle of the lake, as so often before, they get caught in one of the daily downpours. Additional water from above now mingles with the water entering their canoe from below. Because the region is so close to the equator, the daily rain showers can be very intense. Rainfall of 6,000 liters per square meter per year is standard. At home, 3 kilometers away, the girl's mother, Doña Julia, is on her way to work in the fields. She wants to plant new banana plants. Every day at work, the 35-year-old woman often thinks about her 3 young daughters. Doña Julia doesn't know where on their dangerous journey to school the kids now are, or how they're doing. This constant uncertainty is her biggest problem.
Sometimes they come home very late, and I always am afraid then that something has happened to them on the river. If they are traveling by boat, I'm always afraid that Yulissa will fall into the water. She cannot swim yet. On the river, something could easily happen to the little one.
Even though she worries daily about her daughters, she knows how important school is for the girls. Doña Julia herself can neither read nor write. Back to the girls. The weather has thankfully improved. After rowing 3 kilometers for over an hour, they finally reached the shore of San Mariano. Mooring the massive dugout requires the 2 older girls to muster all their strength. Julia and Kenya must pull the canoe as far as they can up the muddy bank, so if the water rises during class, it won't drift away.
Go on, you almost have it.
The 3 girls share a school bag. Carrying it is a privilege reserved for the eldest.
But just look at your pants.
Yulissa, Julia, and Kenya are indeed dirty, but have arrived safely, despite all the perils. Their classmate, Greyven, has also made it to San Mariano unscathed. Classes begin officially at 7:30, but without a clock, the 4 children simply leave home when they're ready. Often they arrive late for school. Sometimes they're too early.
Hi, Greyven.
On most days, Mrs. Miller waits to start class until the children from the jungle have made it to school. Today they start a good quarter of an hour late, and as usual with the Lord's Prayer. Nicaragua is strictly Catholic.
Padre nuestro que estás en los cielos, santificado sea, así también perdonamos a los que nos ofenden. Perdona nuestras ofensas, así también perdonamos a los que líbranos del mal, porque tú eres Dios. Amén. Si vas a la escuela, tienes que aprender, y si no aprendes, nada vas a hacer. Tienes que aprender, y si no aprendes, nada vas a hacer.
In the class, there are students between 4 to 14 years of age. It's a challenge offering everyone the appropriate learning material for his or her level. But the teacher has a system.
Let's get started. First grade, board. First grade, board. Second grade, prevention. Prevention. Third, fourth, and fifth grade, to serve. Serve.
Servir. Caligrafía. Caligrafía.
Despite the grueling journey to school, the older ones work hard to follow the lessons. For little Yulissa, suddenly having to sit still is very difficult.
When they arrive at school, because of the fatigue, they cannot focus well. This gradually gets better and better because they like to learn. But I must constantly remind them to concentrate on the board so they can retain the lesson.
With her simple reading lessons, the teacher of the small village school is fighting against a great national problem. A quarter of the adults in Nicaragua cannot read. The country has one of the highest illiteracy rates in Latin America. Then, it's time for what probably all school children in the world love the most. Recess. The children get their lunch in a small hut in the village. Since their meager breakfast, the students have had nothing to eat or drink. They can't wait for the hot meal. Every day, a different mother from the village prepares the meal. There is almost always gallo pinto, fried rice with black beans, tortillas, and lemonade. A feast for the children.
Are you hungry? Kenya, take this from me.
But I want to carry the tortillas.
The government pays for the ingredients for lunch. The Zero Hunger program ensures that all school children in the country get to eat at least one meal a day. Although Nicaragua is considered a developing country, malnutrition has almost ceased to be a problem. The few hours at school are a welcome change from the poor life in the forest. Here the children have time to play, and just for once, everything revolves around them. After the break, math is on the program. 6 mangoes minus 2 mangoes make 4 mangoes. The students are enthusiastic, and everyone wants to come up to the board. Meanwhile, it's 1 o'clock. After 5 hours, classes are over for the day.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
Right.
See you tomorrow.
The end of the school day is always a sad moment for Kenya.
In school, I have many friends, but when I'm back at home, they are far away. That makes me sad.
The Flores sisters are on their way back to their dugout. The best part of the day is over for them, because the way home not only takes longer, it will also take a lot of energy. But before they get back on the river, the girls have to bail the dugout, for it is filled up again during class. Greyven's way home is also somewhat delayed. Since he is the only family member who comes here regularly, he must take care of his mother's shopping in the village store of San Mariano. The small shop is the only one within 20 kilometers.
Good afternoon.
Good day. What do you want?
White detergent, please.
Most of what they need to live, the locals produce themselves. In the village shop, there are important things like medicines, toiletries, and a few luxury items, such as flashlights, batteries, or candy.
What else?
A liter of oil.
You're lucky I still have some. That's 170.
170 Cordoba oro, or about $6. A lot of money for the boy's family. A normal worker makes about $1.60 a day. Now Greyven can head back home. He must go to his grandmother's house, where his mother awaits him with the rest of the family. This is the time of day when the afternoon heat sets in. As workers now flee from the sun to seek shelter in the village, the student must begin his hour-and-a-half-long walk. Greyven would also like to hide from the sun.
I'm really hot, but I have to go to my grandmother's house.
Now the student must be even more cautious of snakes. In the afternoon heat, the cold-blooded reptiles become more active. The girls on the Rio Escondido have to deal with new dangers and difficulties. The way home takes them upriver. Now in their 200-kilogram dugout, the sisters must paddle against the current. Added to that, the weather seems to be conspiring against them.
It's very windy today, and therefore the current is very strong. The boat seems to be going nowhere.
While the oldest sister is really doing her best, Julia takes more and more breaks. Kenya is getting mad.
Hey, row a little bit faster now.
They have made it just halfway, and the trials of the day have already sapped their strength. On land, their classmate Greyven struggles with temperatures over 35 degrees Celsius and extremely high humidity. A typical afternoon in eastern Nicaragua, where it is hot all year round, with an average humidity of 80%. Like the girls, he has only made it halfway home. Greyven must hurry. Work awaits him at his destination. As soon as he arrives, he must help his family cook the coconut oil. But Greyven is thirsty and needs a break. Clean drinking water is a rarity outside of the big towns. About 30% of people in the rural areas of Nicaragua have no access to clean water. Luckily, Greyven does. He's not alone under the tree's shade for long. A late arriving worker also seeks shelter from the sun. It's Don Pedro, who Greyven knows from the village.
Have you seen a snake?
Sure, I've seen one.
Although Greyven has luckily never been bitten, his fear of poisonous snakes runs deep. Since no one here possesses any antidote, and the nearest doctor is 2 hours away by boat, a snake bite could be fatal. He quickly continues on his way. A few kilometers away, Kenya, Yulissa, and Julia have finally made it to the mangroves after paddling for over an hour. Despite the fatigue and exertion, Kenya takes good care of her little sisters. She keeps an especially sharp eye on Yulissa, who can't swim.
Take your foot out.
Because of the strong current on the main channel of the river, they are late. Their mother will already be concerned. The girls gather their last strength once again. All three help to get the heavy canoe through the final meters home. Then it is finally in sight. The familiar jetty. Other children who do not go to school are playing in the water. Unlike the Flores sisters, they have already done their household chores and so have time to play. But the three students are much too tired to join in the fun. It's after 3 o'clock when the girls moor the dugout to the dock. For more than 10 hours now, they have been hard at work. Yulissa, Julia, and Kenya just want to go home to their mother. The children were lucky they weren't caught in a downpour. During the rainy season, especially in the afternoons, showers are always to be expected. One kilometer further inland, their classmate Greyven drags himself along the last leg of his journey home. The oppressive, humid afternoon heat and the fatigues of the day have been hard on the boy. The last few meters. Finally, for today, the end is in sight. Greyven knows it's just this one hill, and then it's done.
Almost there.
At his grandmother's house, Greyven's mother and the rest of the family are waiting for him.
Hello, how was school?
Good?
Did you see any snakes?
No.
Then go and change so that you can help us with the coconuts.
They earn their livelihood with coconut oil, which the entire family cooks together. They get $7.50 for each 5-liter canister of oil, but that means 3 hours' work for all 5 of them. For today, Greyven has survived his dangerous journey to and from school and can now be with his family, so the work doesn't bother him. As for the girls, their small village of San Nicolas is finally within reach. So close to home, little Yuli is elated. Her big sisters, too, can hardly wait to see their mother. Yulissa, Julia, and Kenya are home at last. Once again, the children have overcome their journey to school. Their mother, Doña Julia, is already preparing dinner in the kitchen. Tonight, there will be smoked meat. The girls must strengthen themselves after all that physical exertion. Each of the sisters wants to be the first to hug their mother. The relief is obvious for the whole family. A dangerous and long day now lies behind the children. But 9-year-old Kenya knows exactly why she puts herself through it every day.
When I grow up, I want to study and become a teacher.
Today, she has come one step closer to her dream. Evening falls swiftly over the family's hut. So close to the equator, the sun sets shortly after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. At twilight, the exhausted girls crawl into bed. Now it's time for the 3 sisters to rest. Tomorrow is a new day, one that will bring them new adventures and take lots of energy. On the Rio Escondido, in eastern Nicaragua, on one of the world's most dangerous ways to school.